This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. Welcome to the 9 HAM GlobalNet. We're starting that a bit late today due to some technical issues, but now it seems that everything is sorted. This is an open net, so it's changed the structure from the usual net controlled net to an open net. So I'm going to start off by asking if there's any emergency traffic. Before we start the net, is there any emergency traffic for the net? This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
Charlie, VS. Hi Charlie, listening and doing some cases here, so my hands are full. Go ahead, admin.
VS checking in, 9H1 VS checking in.
Five VS checking in.
Nine Hotel 1 Tango Lima checking in.
And 7 APW checking in.
So this is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. So I acknowledge 9 Hotel 1 Foxtrot Bravo Sierra, 9 Hotel 5 Tango Sierra, 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey, and 9 Hotel 1 Tango Lima. I'm not sure if NG3CZM. If there's anyone I missed, please come in again. I might have missed it because I've got another temporary setup at the moment here. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
Yeah, G3TZM still.
If I heard correctly, there's also 9H1 Juliet Lima listening.
Good morning, guys. This is Kilo 4 Romeo Yankee Golf, Orenza in Anchorage, Alaska, USA, and I'm also here listening.
This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. So I acknowledge G3TZM. Yes, I had you listed. 9 Hotel 1 Japan Lima, Joe. Kilo 4 Romeo Yankee Golf. And those are the new check-ins I have. So just to repeat the whole list, I have 9 Hotel 1 Tango Lima, 9 Hotel 1 Foxtrot Bravo Sierra, 9 Hotel 5 Tango Sierra, November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey, Golf Tango 3 Zulu Mike, 9 Hotel 1 Japan Lima, and Kilo 4 Romeo Yankee Golf. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. Are there any more check-ins for this evening's edition of the 9 HAM GlobalNet? Okay, hearing none. This net is an open net, so there is no net controller. I've just sort of introduced that myself. Today we do have a short presentation by 9 Hotel 1 Tango Lima, and he's going to talk about what he, well, I'll leave the topic to him, but it's like the title of his presentation is The Other Side of Work. And he's going to present something basically which he's interested in, and we can use that as a focus for, general discussion topics. So we'll actually pass the mic to the floor rather than to the net controller. So can I give the mic to Chris, Hotel 1 Tango Lima, and let him all about the other side of work from his angle, obviously, and then we can all chip in. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha, giving the mic to 9 Hotel 1 Tango Lima. Chris.
Okay, 9 Hotel 1 Tango Lima. Hello everyone on the 9H GlobalNet. Thank you, Anthony, for that introduction. So yeah, the other side of work. So basically, we'll be talking about my hobby here, which is gardening. Most of us here have hobbies outside of radio. So for me, radio is just one of many hobbies that I have. I do enjoy it, and I'm currently in the garden with my radio. Although I was using my Baofeng UV5R, and it seems the battery has failed on me. Not because I haven't charged it, but I think I have some battery issues, and I'll probably have to get a new one. So yeah. The roof is where my garden is. It's a roof garden, so it's a naturally good place for my radio shack, if you will. So I have an antenna farm here. Most of them disused old antennas that I haven't bothered to bring down, and some of them that are currently in use. I'm mostly on the 20-meter band, but right now I'm using Echolink via my mobile phone. So I'm just going to take a quick pause so the repeater doesn't time out. Okay, so my garden basically has some animals and plants in it. The animals, some of them are residents and some of them are visitors. So the resident animals, if you will, are 3 rabbits, a cat, greenfinches, a parrot, a ringneck parrot, and fish in a pond. The parrot and the greenfinches have a very spacious aviary that I've constructed myself. It's a walk-in aviary, shaded, protected from the sun, ample amount of water and food, and so it requires very minimal maintenance from my end. And it's very easy to clean because obviously it's so large and walk-in. So yeah. And then there are the visitors, the stray cats that come over from time to time, and the various seasonal birds that come in, and you get to see quite a lot of birds here if you're attentive. Although right now it's dusk, so we'll start seeing some bats very soon, because that's what you'll see at this time of day. So yeah, you have these seasonal birds that stop by for a drink, free food and shelter. I usually leave a free dish of water during this time of year, because obviously it's very hot and birds do suffer from dehydration, and so I leave them some water for their journey. I'm just going to take a quick pause. Okay, and well, it can't be a garden without plants. Some of them are culinary herbs for food, and some are aquatic for the pond. My pond is a very small pond. There is no filter, and it's naturally filtered by the plants that there are in there. All right, so I'll open the mic back to the floor. And are there any questions, or maybe you'd like to talk about your own hobbies aside from amateur radio, or that might be a peripheral part of amateur radio? So I leave that to the floor.
I have a question for you. Can I?
Yeah. Sure. Go ahead.
Okay, so you said you have ample water and all that, but you said culinary. But I mean, can't you tell us something like what are they? Carrots, tomatoes, potatoes, I don't know, leeks, onions, something like that?
Okay, so to answer that question, I do involve myself a lot on the family farm and growing plants in the soil and on a farm is very different than planting them in a pot in a garden. This is a roof garden, so if it were not for the shade cloth, they'd be quite exposed to the sun, and the wind does quite a lot of damage. So you can't just grow anything here, and I have grown tomatoes here, but obviously they will be quite small. I've grown green peppers on my roof garden. Again, very small results. By culinary, what I most mean is herbs, because with herbs, you obviously only need a small amount. A lot of the herbs that are Mediterranean herbs, they're very resistant to the elements. They're adapted to the heat and wind. You'll find them in the wild in exposed areas. So, things like thyme, fennel, basil, sage. These are quite adapted to the elements, and they do quite well. Rosemary does very well as well in pots, and you only need a very small amount to add to the taste in your food. So you can just keep sustaining what you grow. So what you grow, you just you'll never run out, basically. And right now it's a lot of the plants would have developed seed. So if you let them go to seed, then you can collect the seed, let the plant dry out, and you can just reseed them for the next year. So yeah, it's like a perpetuating cycle. So I hope that answers your question. So I'll leave the mic back to the floor for any questions about my hobby, or maybe you'd like to talk about maybe your own hobby that's aside from amateur radio.
And 7APW, I have a couple of questions for you. First of all, good afternoon or good evening to everybody. It's nice to be back. I am portable today, and I'm using Echolink off of the cell phone, and it seems to work quite well. But do you have to prepare? Do you have to do anything special to the roof? Because there is obviously some additional weight and maybe water and all that. And so do you have to prepare the roof before you decide I'm going to have a roof garden? And I also had some other questions, but geez, I forgot them. So they may come later. 9H1TL with and I hope I got your call sign right, with the 9H HAM Net and 7APW.
And November 7 APW from 9 Hotel 1 Tango Lima, part of this 9H GlobalNet. Before preparing your roof for the roof garden, you have to decide what kind of plants you want. And this was a trial and error for me, so it was mostly self-taught, and I had to kill many plants in the process. So yeah, that's part of the learning experience for any gardener. It's nice to start out with succulents because they don't require much maintenance. They don't require much water, and they're quite resistant to the wind. Roof gardens are very difficult because the elements are always against you. Everything is very exposed. There are those two main problems working against you. So I've installed some shade cloth that I will keep up for the entirety of the summer. I will bring it down in winter, and that will give some shade, much needed shade, to the more sensitive plants that I have. So I use shade cloth suspended on these metal rods, and even the way I position the planters, you can and position them in a way that the bigger plants give shade to the smaller ones, and that just makes such a big difference. In terms of water, I did experiment with some automatic watering systems. But the problem with that is that some plants require more water than others, and if you leave it up to an automatic watering system, unless you're very, very careful, you'll end up drowning some plants and leaving some plants just too dry. So what I do is every day I just come up here and I water them very quickly, or every other day in summer. And that's an opportunity to check on the ones that aren't doing so well and intervening very quickly if necessary. So I'm just going to take a quick pause and I'll continue. Okay, so one other thing you have to think about is drainage. You have to prop your pots above the roof a little bit, because you will get some soil coming out, and that soil and moisture is going to damage your roof. So you have to find a way to suspend your plants in a way, your pots, so they don't damage your roof and they don't accumulate soil, and that they're easy to clean. Leaves do fall. They will clog your drain unless you're careful. So you have to think about how to collect that debris in such a way that it doesn't clog your drain. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. November, December 7 APW from 9 Hotel 1 Tango Lima. I'm leaving the mic to the floor for any further questions.
This is Kilo 4 Romeo Yankee Golf. I have a question. I was thinking about creating an underwater system of some kind that would, say, collect rain, run through a pipe, and then would go underneath the soil. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Over.
Okay, this is 9H1T returning. So yeah, a roof gardener is as much a farmer as he is an engineer. So if you're handy, that's really helpful. I'm not very handy, so I had to learn things by on my own very slowly, very amateurish with cable ties and pipes and things. But I did learn a lot along the way, and that's always fun. The learning part is as fun as the success in itself. But yeah, every roof is different. I'm currently sweeping some of the water into the drain because whoever constructed my house, unfortunately, made the roof tilt the wrong way, so it tends to accumulate water. So I've just changed the water in the pond, and there's a little puddle of water that I'm scooping into the drain. So yeah, you have to be an engineer if you're a roof gardener. You have to redirect the water flow somehow to make it more easier for you, so that the more free time you have, the more actual gardening you can do. So I'll leave the mic back to the floor for any further questions and comments.
Try to find drip, that's Delta Romeo India Papa, irrigation. I think that is what you're trying to aim at. Go ahead.
I copy. Drip irrigation. I will look it up and start looking at that now. Thank you. KK4, how about you?
Here's another comment for Arenza. Well, and everybody for that matter. This is S7APW. We have to remember where we live now. You and I especially, Arenza, because we're not in the Mediterranean and we're not anywhere close to the equator. And so we experience, you more than I, X amount of months of temperatures below freezing. And just like any other sprinkler system, if you're going underground, it has to be blown out. Otherwise, as we all know, unfortunately or fortunately, water has a certain characteristic. Before it freezes, it expands. That will ruin all the plumbing and everything else. And 7APW, back to net.
Comment to Arenza from 9H1TL Chris. Yeah, maybe a greenhouse would be good for you. If you're on the roof and you have a greenhouse, that's probably the best for like the colder climates. And you have more control over how much the temperature is and how much rainfall actually affects you. So yeah, that's my quick comment.
Hotel 1 Tango Lima. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. Thank you very much for your very interesting talk, and yeah, I didn't know that you were so much into this. I knew sort of you did some gardening, but I didn't know you were so much into this. I have a very practical question, which actually arises from some experience in my earlier part of my life. So, how does your cat live with your parrots, greenfinches, fish, and the rabbits? And how does the rabbit live with your plants? Because in my limited experience, these things don't go very well together, because the rabbit tends to nibble at everything it sees. The cat tends to check the pond for anything that moves. Okay, I guess the greenfinches and parrots are behind bars, so that's controllable. But yeah, what about the rest? Back to 9 Hotel 1 Tango Lima. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
H5FA from 9 Hotel 1 Tango Lima, Chris, part of the 9H GlobalNet. Okay, so to answer your question very simply, good fences make good neighbors. Okay, so for example, the turtles, because I didn't mention, I do have some small baby turtles. They're on a raised pallet, and the pallet is surrounded by chicken wire, by very small, maybe like 7 inches of chicken wire high, and it's raised off the ground, so no cats would go in, and they don't go out, so they get protected, and they have as much grass, and the grass just grows on its own practically, and they have an unlimited supply of water, and no animals go in, and they're safe from that. As for the rabbits, they have a large enclosure, and every day I leave them I leave them in the enclosure, and then at night I go up again and put them in a smaller enclosure where they're protected from stray cats. And I do have one of the rabbits who's very aggressive, and I've seen her actually attack the cat. So the rabbit actually attacked the cats. So to protect any visitors, I lock them up for the night. The birds, as you said, they're in this walk-in enclosure, so yeah. And as for the plants, I've lost many plants before I had this set up, because like I had a palm tree that was turned into a toothpick by the rabbits. So yeah, and I do have some plants that are quite toxic to some animals, like oleander is as you know, it has cardiac glycosides in it, which are very toxic to animals, even humans actually as well. So what I do is I keep that elevated, like 3 or 4 feet high, with like a small little fence, so that the rabbits don't go in and try to nibble it. So yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, good fences make good neighbors, and walls keep them safe. So yeah, so I'll leave the mic back to the floor for any further questions or comments.
For you, Chris, this is 9H1FBS. Teach the parrot that when he sees a cat, he would go, shoo, shoo, go away, pussycat.
Seven APW. I found out yesterday, and I didn't know this before, but I found out yesterday that my dog loves cucumbers. So and he apparently has known that for a while. I haven't, but now there's a couple of cucumber plants with some nice cucumbers in the backyard, and I may start counting them. It's amazing. I honestly didn't think that a dog would like cucumbers, but he just sits there and eats them as if he was, he was Bugs Bunny eating a carrot. 7 APW.
And 7 APW, this is 9H1TL. Yeah, my cat loves peas, which is not a traditionally cat kind of food. So yeah, so you get these animals with strange tastes too. All right, back to the floor.
Terry, once when I had this guide dog, Labrador like yours, this is 9H1FBS, I gave him some pumpkin. Oh boy. I don't have any pictures, of course, but you know what dogs do when they're very happy? Feet in the air, kicking about, and really enjoying the whole thing.
This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha with 9 HAM GlobalNet. Thanks, Chris, 9H1 Tango Lima. Let me have another short question. And this topic about sort of different behaviors of animals is extremely interesting. So two short things. First of all, what do you do when you're abroad? I mean, you have quite a network of tetrapods and and bipedes fish. So, what do you do when you go abroad? I mean, someone has to take care of them. And my other comment is about the cat's habits. We had a cat once, some years ago, who used to like mint. And mint, I'm sort of, so it used to nibble at mint plants, but he also liked anything which was mint flavored. Polo, if you have a packet of Polo, he would, bite into it and start eating it. Even mint flavored toothpaste. You have to be careful what to leave around. And that was the only time I knew of a cat who liked and had this huge affinity for mint. Back to the floor. Chris, how do you sort that out when I mean, do you have someone who actually comes and takes care of it? And Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
9H5FA from 9H1TL Chris. I've never heard of a cat liking mint, but there you go. All animals have their own particular taste, just like humans do. Okay, so when I go abroad, actually the answer to that question is simple. What's the word I'm looking for? Like economics, I think, is the word I'm looking for. Okay, so a very large enclosure is going to be much easier to maintain than a smaller one. So a small cage is going to be more high maintenance than a large cage, for example, or a large aquarium is going to be easier to manage than a small one, because those small changes are going to affect a small system much quicker than a large one. I'm sure you understand that very easy. That basically, so if you have like changes in pH, that's going to have a much no intervention at all. You don't actually have to intervene. So the rabbits, for example, will have a week supply of food, even 2 weeks. They will have a huge tray of water, which will not become green because it's not exposed to the sun. So you can change it theoretically after a week, although I do get someone over to change some of the water and some of the food every 2 to 3 days. But like most of the food is dry, so it will last like several days, as long as it's not exposed to the sun or moisture. So yeah, like I said, theoretically I could just not intervene for an entire week. It's more a question of peace of mind and knowing while I'm abroad that everyone is fine, and and that my enclosure no one has escaped from an enclosure and devoured all my plants. So yeah. That's basically it. All right, so returning to the floor for any further questions or comments.
I think your cat's mother, Anthony, taught her son or daughter how to have lucky lips. Brush your teeth every day and always carry a mint in your pocket. 7 APW.
This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. possibly, Jerry, you're right. Yeah, Chris, 9 Hotel 1 Tango Lima. What about the visitors, the animal visitors you get? How do they interact? I mean, with the resident animals. I know that cats can be very catchy between themselves, and fights and I mean we've had cats coming to visit, and we've had cats with a bloody nose and bite marks and whatever, obviously after some fights. So how do they behave? How do you take care of those? I mean, how do you control those? 9H1 Tango Lima, that is 905 Foxtrot Alpha, the 9H HAM GlobalNet.
9H5FA from 9H1TL, Chris. Yeah, I had a couple of rabbits who used to fight, and before I had separated them, one of them was an older, much older rabbit. He was an ancient creature who was given to me from multiple hands before, and he was very docile. So one of my rabbits, which is a very aggressive female, was bullying him quite a lot, and I have tended to some bite wounds, especially on his legs. So I would make like a little dressing so that it would heal properly. So yeah, some animals can be quite aggressive, and sometimes it's best if they're isolated. If you see that one of them is a bit aggressive, so my aggressive rabbit is not allowed to with the other rabbits. The rabbits that do well with each other, they remain friends. No bite marks. They can stay with each other. So yeah, same with the birds. If I notice a bird is being a bit too aggressive and pecking the others and not letting them access the food and the water, I'll just isolate them to another enclosure, so that way there will be no trauma. As for the visitors, well, most of them are in enclosures, the residents, so the visitors can't access them. But they have tried. I have found broken enclosures, so like doors that were damaged from either someone coming in or someone trying to come out to attack the visitor. But for the most part, it's a peaceful existence. As for my cat, he only comes up here when I'm here, and there's that feeling of safety while I'm here. So there's no violent interactions while I'm here. So yeah. All right. So thank you very much, Anthony, for this opportunity. It's been a big pleasure talking about my hobby here. It's my major hobby, and like I said, it ties in with so many other things I do. The radio, because I do the radio here in the garden, and my aquatics, so the pond system, and all the animals and plants that I take care of. It's been a pleasure. All right, so back to the floor. This is 9H1TL on the 9H.
This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. Are there any questions, comments, feedback? I think this was extremely interesting, actually, because it's not just gardening, it's gardening and rearing of very different types of pets. Yeah, Chris, you seem to have got it all sorted out neatly. Are there any further questions for Chris? This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. Holding the mic back to the net. Okay, hearing none. Can I, it's KK4RYG still here. Arensa, Are you still here? KK4YRG, this is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
Yes, I'm still here. It's Kilo 4 Romeo Yankee Golf. Urban Wise and Ham Radio is KK4 Red Yellow Green. I'm an Insomniac Net participant, and they've coded me Red Yellow Green. But yeah, I'm still here. Go ahead with your questions, because I was going to ask you one more. Back to you. This is KK4 Red Yellow Green.
KK4 Red Yellow Green, yeah, that's good. And this is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. And I'm not sure if you received them. I sent you about 2 emails, I think, over the last, it was over the last 2 weeks or something like that, asking if you would like to present, I mean, once you had suggested something about global warming, and asking if you would like to take one of the nets and present something about global warming or anything else that you would like to. I'm not sure if you got your emails. I'm using the email address which you have on URZ. If you have another email address, I'll use that one, no problem. KK4 Red Yellow Green 29H5FA.
Okay, I think I got it. Okay, I'll respond via email. But yeah, I definitely accept your offer to do a session on global warming and at least the information that I have here. But yeah, I have the email. I just haven't had a chance to respond to it. Back to you, KK.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, okay. If you, I mean, we don't have anything planned yet for today fortnight. So if you would like to take it on, you know, we're very happy for that. If it's not suitable for you and you would like to take on some other date, you know, just tell me which date you prefer, and we'll sort out something else for today fortnight. That's fine. So I'll just wait for your email, and please just, you know, feel free to suggest whatever you wish. Aaron, I think you had a question for Chris, right? If I got you correct. So let me pass on the mic back to you. KK4YG, this is 9H5FA, 9H HAM GlobalNet.
I'll see you. I'm trying to open my French store here.
Okay, you got it. All right, this is KK4RYG. Yeah, I had a question about the gardening patterns. I'm thinking that we should be more elaborate, because from what I know, it's the type of soil that you use that would create some type of an underground reservoir for water that could come from, say, elaborate development. What am I trying to say? If we're able to collect, say, the rain, for example, those in different types of containers that flows into a piping system that goes underground, that basically is an underground reservoir for plants to feed. I mean, for plants to get watered from. Am I looking at this right, or am I looking at it wrong? Back to you.
KK4RYG, this is 9H1TL. Yeah, it's going to depend on your climate. So I'm aware that Alaska has freezing temperatures at some points in the year. So you would benefit from geothermal heating, which is basically where you keep where you store something like water underground to prevent it from freezing. it sounds quite counterintuitive because you think it's always cooler, but actually underground it actually might be warmer than outside temperatures. So, so that might be a good option for you. Obviously, you'd have to install a pump to get that water up from underground onto your roof or wherever you'd like to set up your garden. But here in Malta, we do have substantial amount of rainfall, but it's obviously very hot and dry in the summer. So what we do here, at least what I do, is I store rainwater in a very large container on the roof, and then have that just drain whenever I need to water the plants. I just open a tap and it waters my plants through a hose. A drip system would make this easier. I have used a drip system, but the problem with the drip system is that if you have to be very careful on how you set the rate. So if you make your rate too much, then your plants are going to drown, and if you make it too little, then they're going to dry out. So you still have to check on them every now and then. So I figure I may as well just do it by hand. So yeah, that's one way you can go about it. You can use a pump system and store the water underground, but I store mine in a very large tank on the roof and just allow gravity to do its work. So yeah, but you have to find a way to collect the runoff, because you will some of the water has to drain from the plant, and that's going to contain like soil and other chemicals that maybe you might have introduced, and you have to figure out a way to drain that in a way that's going to do any harm to your roof or to the piping that will collect that. So yeah, as a soil mixture, I use a mixture of soil from the farm, so I have to carry that up the stairs. That is a chore, but I mix it with some of the dry leaves that fall off that I scoop up from the ground. And obviously the animals, they produce a lot of waste, and I use that as fertilizer. I mix it with the soil and it just does wonders. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, Arensa. So I hope that answers your question, and we can talk about this more. Maybe if you want, I can leave you my email, or we can chat and we can talk about this a bit more. Okay, so I'll leave it to the floor for any further comments and questions about this.
Definitely going to look at some of the topics that was presented to me today, and I plan to work on some type of a garden construction, and I hope to be in contact with you guys. If you want to know about it, you can email me at kilo4 Romeo Yankee Golf @gmail.com, and we'll do a email group session about it. That way we can continue to further our knowledge and experience in gardening. Back to you. This is KK4RYG.
KK4RYG from 9H1TL. Okay, I managed to get your email. I'll send you a message and we can keep in touch. If I heard correctly, I think 9H1 Japan Lima sent a message. I think I heard him make a call. If so, go ahead.
Hi, there. Nice to hear you there. Been a while since we talked. I've been following you because you're doing something work over here at home. Ended up doing some charities over here, so I have to put them off to just them now with less heat. Based along your subject over there with the roof garden. The roof garden just to get very hot because you're high up. You're more stuff, so you have quite a lot of work to do over there, tending to your plants and your stuff on the roof. Okay, so from my side I've got a front garden or around the house over here. It's 400 foot, so let's see. Yeah. Trees over here, citrus trees, mandolin, lemon and orange. And another tree, forum that we go to. I handle that stuff at least once a week. I have to water during summertime. But every morning I have to water some of the plants before I go to work. So sometimes I tend to overwater, as you said. I realize right away because the plants will start showing some signs over there. But I'm always in a hurry going to work, so I have to take care of them every morning also. But anyway, got some good stuff out here. Once you water them, they're okay, but they tend to dry up also, even though they're at ground level. So if Aaron So is still listening over there here in Malta, the heat we get it's quite a lot, and it dries up everything. And take continuous care of what you have. But some summers are hotter than others, and especially lately, and it's causing a lot of these plants to dry up, unfortunately. Right, guys, I'll stay too long. Let's make this a little break. But you know, what my other hobby is. It becomes something else more than a hobby. And had another flight on the 7th of June, and quite a lot of more material on that subject of photography, which I'm still going through. Piloted, but still not sure what's going to end up as a book or not. I have been found out by my own radio. A quick one, Jerry, are you still here? Did you get that clip I sent you there, Jerry? N7APW 9810.
Still here, Joe, go ahead.
I sent you a clip there. Did you get to see it?
I haven't seen it yet, but I know I have it. And I've been kind of, I don't know what to say. Busy? A retired person? Busy? No, that's crazy. But I've been a bit all over the place, and I haven't been doing my daily routines, and it threw me all off. But I'll make sure that I take a look at it, Joe, and thank you very much. Go.
You're very good, Jerry. Have a quick look at it, because there's quite an opportunity to which fell right into my lap. Literally fell into my lap, so couldn't say no to that opportunity. Okay, guys, I have to go. I've been called for dinner, so I don't want to get too cold. It's been nice hearing you all, and I'm on during the day over here when I'm out and about on my QRL for now. So later on, next year will be a different story altogether. So, serenity from my side, guys, and take care of yours, and a good DXT to everybody also to on HS and stuff like that. Anthony, I'm going to give it to you there. 9H5 Fox Alpha and H1 Jeff value.
Lima 9H5 Fox Alpha. Thanks, Joe. Joe, just something to think about. Would you like to take on a topic of a net sometime, whenever convenient for you? I know that Thursdays are a bit difficult for you, or this time of the day at least is a bit difficult for you. Perhaps there is some particular, Thursday you want to take on, and tell us something about your major hobby. We know, but you have a particular slant on it, because your major hobby is not just photography; it's aerial photography. I'm not sure. So if you think you can, or you wish to take on a net, just drop me an email or let us know on the net, and we'll be extremely happy to have you and discuss your particular very interesting hobby, actually. 9H1 Papa Lima, this is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha with the 9H HAM GlobalNet.
Yes, of course. Now I've got to know what the net is like now, because you have changed the structure of the net. Okay. I'll try and make it with one of these. I'll try and make it and try and please put some input into the subsource. Not a professional. I'm an amateur at it, so but I like what I do. That's it. Anyway, yeah, all right. I might post something later on. When I got some of the stuff ready, yeah, I might post some of it. Yeah, just but nothing is definite for the time being. That's all I can say. All right. Good night, all, and God bless everybody. 9H5 Fox Alpha was the group. 9H1 Jafar.
9H1 Japan Lima, 9H5 Fox Alpha, thanks Joe. And it's up to you, I mean, I would really appreciate and bon appetit, and don't let your food get cold. Enjoy your dinner. Back to the floor, this is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. Are there any other questions or comments or queries for today's topic, or anything else that anyone would like to share? Being on for about 45 or 50 minutes, which has flown by. We started a bit late today. That was due to some technical issues on my side. But yeah, I think it's been a very, very interesting net, actually, and very stimulating. Back to the floor. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
And 7APW, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you, Chris. Very well done and very informative, and you answered all the questions and then some, so that's great. Listen, Anthony, if you'd like to keep the topic going, the other side of work, I might be able to talk about retirement. You know, when I saw it, I said, Chris is going to talk about retirement? He's too young for that. I'm not. And I know there are others who are not, but I don't know. It's one of those kind of interesting topics because a lot of people walk into retirement and it's as if you're walking into a totally new world, and it's really not. It's a continuation of what we were doing in a totally different way. So maybe it would be enlightening and interesting too. We shall see. But if you want to jot me down for that one, I'll give it a whirl with a little help from my friends, as the Beatles would say. Okay, I've enjoyed it completely. Thank you very much, guys. It's been a pleasure, and we'll do it again. And I've been listening to the net while waiting for the doctor at the doctor's office, and the doctor hasn't shown up yet. And 7APW, back to net control.
Necessary, but there is no net control. Thanks, yes, of course, I jotted it down. Yeah, I have to think of something myself for some time in the future, but I'm sort of reserving myself for an empty slot where we sort of as an emergency last minute slot in. Yeah, thanks, Jerry, and hope everything goes well with your appointment, with your medical appointment. Back to the floor. Is there anyone else who would like to, ask any questions, pass any comments? This is 9H5 Foxtrot Alpha with the 9H HAM GlobalNet.
Yeah, from G3TZM. Jerry, just be careful what you say, because when I was a lad, an old fellow said to me once, he said, "Oh, just wait till you're retired, son." He said, "You won't have time to do anything." Well, I've been retired now. Officially, I retired in 2003 from government service as an engineer, and I've finally finished as a consultant working in 2018, although I still get asked for advice. But the old boy was absolutely right. You've got absolutely no time to do anything. At the moment, I'm in the middle of making a bird box for a friend of mine. I've done quite a few dozen so far. They've gone all over the place, including Portugal and all around the UK and Wales and everywhere. So just be careful, Jerry. You won't have time to do anything, or you should have found that out by now. G3T's.
Yeah, I found that out by now. That's for sure. You know, it's amazing. It always amazes me. And a lot of people say, well, and there's some truth in this, but not too much. And you don't have a boss anymore. Well, we can debate that too. Yeah, I'll have to be careful, Bill. But there are people who have a fear of retiring and then not having anything to do, and I totally disagree with that. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen, but it's something that people need to stop thinking about, because, as you said, you'll end up with zero time on your hands. You'll end up tired, and you'll tire more frequently, but you'll still have a lot to do at 7APW.
Yeah, from G3TZM. Yeah, between doing jobs on the railway with photographing and socialising and all that, and lectures and goodness knows what else, and with the radio as well. I'm very lucky this year. Earlier on this year, a lady friend of ours who's a widow of a very old friend of who was in the Navy, a radio operator, gave me his gold-plated Bengali Morse key paddle, and it's absolutely beautiful. I've used it already in a couple of contests and on the air, you know, when I pop on the air and have a look around. Absolutely fabulous. So between radio and making things and the railway and family, it's never ending. Anyway, I'll leave it there and catch up with you next time. N7APW and the net, G3TZM.
For you, I don't want to put you on the spot, and please do not feel obligated. Would you like to co-host a discussion about retirement with me, or vice versa, or I co-host it with you? 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Bill, go ahead.
Yeah, G3TZM. Yeah, that'd be fine if I'm around at the time, because again, like last weekend we were down in Wales, and yesterday we were over at the other side of way across the other side of Birmingham at a big shopping centre. Went and had a look around over there on a train journey, because we travel for free over there with our Wrinkly's travel card, our seniors travel card. We're very lucky here. We have the bus and the train and the tram in a very huge area here in the Midlands. So we're very lucky. So yeah, if I'm available, then yeah, no problem at all. G3TZM.
Well, I really thank you for that. I think it would be a lot of fun, because we live in different countries. We've both been to and spent time on Malta, and we're both retired, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, I appreciate that, and maybe we'll make it happen. You know, Anthony's organizational skills are much better than mine, have been, and will probably always be. So maybe we can get it together. I think it's a good idea, and thank you very much. And Anthony, I'll pass it over to you since we've been talking about you at 9H5FA and the 9H HAM GlobalNet and 7APW.
Pause for anyone who might want to break in. And 7APW with the 9H HAM GlobalNet. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. Yeah, I think all this will be interesting. Actually, I'm also approaching retirement, so it's still about 8 years away, but it will come. And yeah, I'd be happy for any hints, though I can already see myself not having time for anything. I understand that perfectly. Okay, so is there any other comments for the net? Are there any other comments for the net? Back to the floor. By the way, one small thing I want to tell Chris. Chris was saying that he has some battery problems with his Baofeng. Chris, stop being there. It's cheaper to get a new Baofeng than to get a battery. It's unless you want to get one of these battery packs which takes AA cells which you can recharge. Those are sometimes handy because you can, you know, yeah, get a new Baofeng. Overall, it's cheaper. Back to the floor. 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
5FA, this is 9 Hotel 1 Tango Lima. Yeah, this will be my second battery that has gone because I had two Baofeng UV5Rs. One I kept in the car and one I kept for like sort of general use at home. I did install a battery eliminator in the car, so I didn't have to use the battery, and I just used the car sort of 12-volt system. And I noticed some strange things happening. So may have been my fault because I wired it in, but I suspect that they don't do very well with 12-volt systems in the car, and I started smelling burning plastic. And it was from the radio side, no, so not the side that I soldered on, and the plastic warped. So yeah, that ended that experiment quite quickly. So yeah, the battery eliminators are great, but yeah, you have to be careful how you're going to set them up. Unfortunately, I don't think they're compatible with my sort of car 12-volt system. As you said, it's cheaper to just get a new one, which I may end up doing. But however, I'm quite a few big changes happening in my life right now, so I have to decide whether getting a handheld is good enough, or whether I should install a nice, good, fixed mounted one. I suppose I don't know what we should call it, like a good mounted set on my new Land Rover. Well, it's not new; it's a second hand, but it's now in my possession, and I want to sort of set it up. But I'm just too busy at the moment. So getting a new Baofeng will just both be cheaper and easier, because it will just involve no time, because I just have to get it started. So yeah, back to the floor. So yeah.
I'd say a mobile rig with decent power in your car. Less frustration and a lot more pleasure. And 7 APW.
And 7 APW from 9H1TL. Yeah, I'd actually
This 9H5FA thinks his battery still died. I don't know. Chris, are you still there? This line Hotel 5 Foxtrot.
All right, and this is 9H1TL. My recording crashed. I don't know if you got my last message.
Chris, you just dropped off air, and sort of I tongue in cheek said that Chris's battery must have just completely gone flat. That's all that's happened since you disappeared and now returned. 9H1 Tango Lima, 9H5FA.
And H5FA, this is 9H1TL. Thanks for that. Yeah, so I was suggested an ICOM, a specific ICOM, but I forgot the model. I had written it down somewhere with a plan to perhaps install it on my Land Rover. But yeah, like Jerry said, something that would ideally decrease my frustration and maximize the fun I would get out of this hobby. All right, back to the floor.
Any help? I have an ICOM, the IC2730. It's a mobile rig and not very difficult to mount. It has a so a detachable front panel. You can put the actual radio under your seat and just have the front panel in front. The trouble is I haven't actually mounted it yet. But you can actually put the actual radio in your, if you like, because there's a fairly long cable which you can use to connect to your front panel, which you can mount on your dashboard. The only issue I have I'm not exactly sure where because it's a bit vague in our local legislation, according on the transport mode website at least. I'm not exactly sure it is legal to actually use a hand mic while driving. Most people say it is. But if I remember correctly, the transport modes page on sort of driving regulation says that you're not supposed to use any device which you have to either put your ear or hold in your hand while driving. What I have done, again, haven't found it yet. Let me pause for 10 seconds and before the time up.
KK4YG. I think it was the ICOM 2731 which was suggested to me. I do have an ICOM 7200. I think I got that right. Yeah. But and I'm very happy with it. It's a very good sturdy radio, but I wanted something that perhaps would give me some VHF capabilities. My ICOM 7200 doesn't have that. So yeah, I'd probably mount it underneath the seat. I'm not sure if by mount underneath the seat you mean to the floor underneath the seat or to the seat itself. I imagine it's to the floor, because that would be much easier to actually set up. All right, back to the floor.
Yes, Chris, I was referring to the floor. One gadget I bought for it as an accessory, which is actually an official ICOM accessory. You can get them off eBay and also some Chinese websites. And instead of actually using a mic while driving, you can get for about £20 or something like that. You can get a mic which you actually fix to one of the rods of your headrest. So it's a small mic, which when you're driving, it's actually located, close to your head. And as a PTT switch, the system has a small button which you install on the gear lever stick. So you can actually put one hand on the gear lever and press the PTT, and then you can talk without actually moving your hands away or using a hand mic or whatever. And this thing is wired, it's not a wireless one. ICOM actually has got a wireless Bluetooth enabled PTT. But that means you have to buy a Bluetooth module for the radio, at least for this 52730. And you can get if you Google if you look through YouTube, there are a number of demonstrations of this thing. It's a Bluetooth enabled PTT with a mic and a speaker. The actual device is intended to have a headphone, an earphone, which you stick into your ear, which you still can't use while driving. But there are people who just, plug it into their car audio system, and it works. I haven't got one of those. Those are a bit more expensive. But they might be an option. I don't really feel like being stopped and fined for using a radio while driving. But again, I'm not 100% sure whether it can be done or not. Using a radio while driving. The police can do it, obviously. I'm not sure if we can do it. Back to the floor. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
Yeah, G3TZM, I've got an answer on that if you want it.
Yes, please, Bill, go ahead.
Yeah, from G3TZM, yeah. I'm conscious that the Maltese government generally follows English laws, and law in this country for using a mobile device says, and I quote, "It is an offence to use a handheld mobile phone or an interactive communications device, but there is an exemption for a two-way radio which is designed or adapted, first of all, for the purpose of transmitting and receiving spoken messages, and operates on any frequency other than 880 to 915 megs, 925 to 960, 1710 to 785, 1805 to 1880, 1900 to 1980, or 2100 to 2170. Ofcom, that's the regulator in the UK, states that you should be transmitting CB in the 27 megs range. If you are, you come within the exemption and are okay. The exception was created because so many government and private organisations, for example taxis, use two-way radios. However, there is strong scientific evidence that any such activity, including fiddling with your CD player, etc., does raise the level of danger so far as accidents are concerned. So it's recommended that you do whatever you can to minimise the use of transmitter buttons, tuning devices and volume controls. If something akin to hands-free exists, it would be a good idea. Even if the device you are using does not fall within the mobile phone legislation, with or without hands-free, if you can't control your vehicle properly or are driving badly, you can be prosecuted for not being in proper control of your vehicle. Careless driving or dangerous driving, the latter two offences carry much higher penalties. If you kill someone in an accident caused by phoning or texting or using a CB, etc., you can expect a lengthy sentence of imprisonment. And that has just come from one of the police organisations in the UK. Just for information, I've had my UK licence since March 1965, and I've used mobile virtually since then. The only time ever I got 2000 two-way radio, which had a telephone handset connected, in exactly the same way as some police cars have a telephone handset connected to their two-way radios. And when the police found out and saw what I was doing, they just said, "Oh, carry on," and I carried on. So that's if that's any use, that helps. There is an exemption for using two-way radio. GE3TZM.
TZM 9H5SA. Thanks, Bill. That's actually very interesting. We don't, I'm sure we don't have that specific exemption in our legislation. It just refers to mobile portable equipment. I have to, probably one thing I'll do is our police department has got a customer service online query system, so I might as well just send them an email and sort of say, is this, and it's actually handy to do that, because then if they say, yes, you can do it, then I'll keep a printout of that in my car. And if some very over-ambitious warden comes along and stops me, I can just say, okay, I've got an official reply from the police saying, I can do this. I've done that before. We have some super ambitious wardens sometimes. That's another thing. But thanks about that. It's good. It's good. So, Bill, is this specified on the Ofcom website? Where exactly is this exemption listed in the UK, or is it on the UK legislation? I mean, the UK law. TZM, this 9H5FA.
Yeah, 9H5FA from G3TZM. Yes, I've got a copy of the exemption in my car, which I carry with me. So if ever I get stopped, and I've never been stopped since that one occasion. I've only been stopped once since 1965. I'm on the mobile radio when I'm in the car, and in fact I usually connect to Echolink and see if I can connect up to Malta. Quite often speak to Joey, 9H1JL mobile, and others, both on this repeater, 9H1UHF, and on 9H1DMR. But I will try and find the, I'll try and find it for you and send it to you. I can send you this one, this extract from Yorkshire Police, but I will try and find the government legislation. There is government legislation about it in the UK, and two-way radios are exempt simply because there are lots of taxis, and in fact I used to run a two-way radio company, and I used to look after something like 300 taxis in different companies, 12 mountain rescues in the Lake District. 12 out of the 15 mountain rescues, I used to do their radios, and I even sold scanners to Cumbria Police, and I've lent a scanner locally here to the West Midlands Police on one occasion when they were looking for a particular job, which they couldn't monitor any other way. I set it up in one of the police cars for them, and they went off and they actually caught somebody that they wanted as a result. So there are I will look for the exemption, and I'll get it off to you by email from G3T.
G3TZM 9H5SA. Thanks, Bill. That would be very helpful. So what I'll do is well, to be honest, I don't know of anyone, of any radio amateur in Malta who has been stopped by the police for using a two-way radio in the car, using a handy mic. But I've checked the legislation, and I didn't find any specific exemption. Yeah, if you send me, if you can tell me that, you don't have to send me the whole text, even if it's just the link to the actual, I don't know, chapter of the UK legislation or something like that, which is something which I can find online, I'll actually quote this in my query to the police, and because it's true, as you say. I mean, most local legislation is inherited from UK legislation and EU legislation, but yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'll send an official query and see what they say. I've done it before on other things, and they're pretty take about 40 days, but they give you a very good reply. And if they can't reply, they actually forward your request section of the police to get an official reply from different sections. So it actually works. I mean, the customer service works. Back to the thanks, Bill. I'd appreciate if you could send that. And I'll reply to you on the other email, which I haven't replied to yet. Sorry about that. Back to the floor. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. By the way, we've been going on for about an hour and 20 minutes. I'm happy to be here, so I'm not complaining. But I'm not sure if other people have got commitments, so I'm just sort of asking, this to go on, or do people have commitments, or I don't know. It's up to you, up to everyone actually, up to me as well. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. Back to the floor.
Nine Hotel 1 Tango Lima. I'm going to have to take my leave. Thank you very much for this discussion. But we have new visitors to the garden at the moment, and they are mosquitoes. So I better get myself inside. Good evening, everyone. It's been a pleasure. 9H1TL signing off.
And 73 Steel, this is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
Asa on board 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. How are you, Anthony?
Hello, Owen. How are you? Have you just joined, or were you here before? This is 9H5FA.
Sorry, I was actually listening to you, but I was busy doing things, so...
So first of all, Owen, best of luck for your upcoming radiometer exam. I think it's next Saturday, am I correct? Tomorrow? So not tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. So yeah, best of luck. I'm sure it'll be fine. And yeah, we'll wait to hear you with the call sign soon. How are things going? 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
Yes, Anthony, it's next Saturday, and I mean, it should be fine, right? At our last revision.
When I had done mine several years ago, the real part which had bothered me was the local legislation part. And very right, but that's fine. I was never born to be a lawyer. This is 9H5FA. It's a 9H HAM GlobalNet.
I tend to agree, right? We are both scientists, so we have only one law, which is the natural law. So we are more accustomed to that one.
Yeah, and that law gives us enough trouble as it is. We are going into man-made laws. Yeah, back to the floor. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
Yes, joking apart, I mean, I know your feeling, because sometimes things are subject to interpretation, and typically I find myself dealing better with things which are more quantitative and more objective, right? Back to the floor.
Yes, that's correct, and at least in your area, there's a term for it. I forgot what it is. But anyway, in your area, if you keep the same inputs, you always get the same output, right? Unless you're doing something with AI. But anyway, so if you have a bug, it's reproducible as long as you keep on doing the same thing. When you're dealing with living cells like we do most of the time, they are not predictable. If something went wrong yesterday, it doesn't mean it's going to go wrong today or tomorrow, so it's more difficult to troubleshoot, I guess. Back to the floor. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
Yes, Andrew, I agree. That's why life is nice, right? That's why life is beautiful, because it's unpredictable.
That's a positive way of looking at it, but you're right. Back to the floor, 9H, this is 9H5FA. I don't think there are any further comments. We've had, I think, one of the longest nets and a very interesting one. Thanks to everyone for contributing. We've been going on for over 1.5 hours actually, about 95 minutes. So in a game of football, would probably have time for penalties, and we would have known who has won. Thanks to everyone for contribution, for participating, and we'll be meeting again today fortnight, same time, same place, 8 p.m. Malta time, on the same two repeaters, the 9H1 UHF repeater and the 9H1 EMR repeater, either via RF or via Echolink. So 73 is from my end, and I'm bringing the today's 9HAM GlobalNet to a close. Thanks everyone. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha with the now closed 9HAM GlobalNet.